Yeah, I'm talking about FNAF. Real quick, say hello to the little avatar I created. Yeah, it shows Golden Freddy. There's a deep backstory behind this, but I'm not telling you. But yeah, I have like 4 or like 6 poses to cycle through, so, old people, am I right? Hold on. Anyways, so, this took more effort and SFM than I'm willing to admit. More time than I'm ever willing to admit, mainly coming up with, like, what the pose would be. Yeah, I'm good at SFM. I wonder if you could tell by, you know, the thumbnails I made for, like, a year. Anyways, before I jump into this, I am willing to talk to you guys in the comments, but if we're going to get heated over this, please don't. Last time I had somebody complain about something, I caved and bought the original Half-Life. Anyways, you know who you are, you know what you did, now sit down. Anyways, I had this ideal before I even made this channel, and it's kind of one of the reasons I made it. And I feel like I need to jump in, and, oh, by the way, the Into the Pit gameplay is, nothing to do with the video, just, it was the most engaging game I watched, so. Background, B-roll. Anyways, warning, if you disagree, like I said, this is my opinion, and I'm willing to be civil, and I don't want to receive my channel's existence, because in my experience, the FNAF community is a crazy bunch. I should know, I'm a part of it. Anyways, with that out of the way, my biggest problem for the longest time was really the books. I enjoy books. I love reading. I really enjoyed the books because it had a lot of fun stories, but it was doing a pet peeve I really have. Same when Halo went down, one of my favorite gaming franchises ever made outside of... actually, I do have an amazing example. Devil May Cry. Let me get to that. But it's doing a pet peeve I have with that Halo does. It's where you have to spend money to know what's going on in the games. I hate it when books do that. It always feels like you're squeezing money out of your friends so they can learn the lore, and then the cherry picking with stuff and the theories of the books. Like, there are 2 type of book paths you can go down. You could go down the Halo path, which FNAF's currently doing, or you could go down the Devil May Cry path. The Halo path is where you start by making books that aren't canon. Well, that are canon, but, I mean, you don't need them to know what's going on, and then slowly transitioning into, yeah, you want to know story? Read the books, bozo. FNAF is going down that path, and I feel like it is a matter of time before we get our lore through books, rather than the games. Because books you can make more money on. Let's be honest, it's a lot easier to churn out books every quarter than making a game every quarter. Just saying. Or you could go down the Devil May Cry path and have them as just extra. Literally. Because, the Devil May Cry books are canon, yes, well, some of them. Some of them aren't, and some are kinda, sort of. Long story, I am talking about Devil May Cry lore in the future. Give me time. It's just I have to go through the anime, the audio dramas, the books, the games. Again, audio dramas. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how that's profitable. But anyways, the Devil May Cry books, while canon, don't just add explanation to this or that. Like, why does Dante's guns have 4 Tony Redgraves outside of an Easter egg? Well, it was made when he went by Tony Redgrave. You know, it's just like an explanation for little things, right? And it explains how Nico met Nero. Did it need explaining? No. Could have been explained in like 3 lines? Yes. But did making a book expand upon it in a meaningful way? Yes. But do I need to read the book to get the lore of the games? No. See? That's the thing. Like, I mean, while there are some revelations in the book, like Nico is related to Angus, or Ungus, wherever his name is, there is... You don't need it to enjoy or understand the games. But yeah, like I was saying, those are the two paths you kind of go down. It's either you go down Devil May Cry, where it just explains things, or you go down Halo and just squeeze your fans out of money. Now, I know... But yeah, and the books have created, some interesting theories. I had a conversation with a creator in a space I am adjacent to. Well, I have multiple channels, right? So in another space where I am a creator, damn near 2K on that channel, I was talking to another person a while ago that goes by Jody or Willow. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I've seen people still call her Jody, and I've also seen people still call her Willow, so if I am missing your name, I've seen it said both ways in months, so I don't know. This was, this script was made before you changed your name to Willow, so don't hurt me. Anyways, Jody or Willow, we don't really get along when it comes to lore. Like, I enjoy some of the stuff she does, but she has claimed that Shadow Bonnie is Eleanor, and then never explained how she came to that conclusion, and would cherry pick which stories are and aren't canon, which I think is a very poor story design, to make your friends try to figure out what is and isn't, through changing events that are either games proven or wrong, because if more kids are dead, that, you know, time travel and stuff like that, making even the ones that people say are canon just more confusing, and in some instances, just plain stupid. Like, really, time travel? Time traveling ball pit? Sea Bonnie's taking over a kid? Phasgoo! I enjoyed Into the Pit. The game and books. Both books. I really like them. But let's be fair, the time traveling ball pit's just stupid. And now then Tales. I personally accepted them as canon after the shit show that was SB. Let's be fair, Security Breach was, a bit of a train wreck. Scott himself even admitted this. That it was kind of doomed, which kind of made me look at these books like they were canon, because, well, after that, then the trailer for Secret of the Mimic dropped. Everyone knew this had to confirm or deny whether the books are canon. Before I talk about that game, I got called sexist for believing in Cassidy and not Andrew. Because I didn't think Andrew exists because of my dislike of the Fazbear Frights being canon. And she, to this day, still believes the books are canon, despite the game pretty heavily proving it wrong by just existing. Like, now, listen, I am open to people's opinions, but I was taken aback that she would call me sexist for believing Cassidy and not Andrew, and I'm just like, motherfucker, Crying Child gets a different name every week. Every week! And it was like, no, she wasn't even claiming it was, Crying Child. She was claiming it was the Vengeful Spirit. Brother, that doesn't make fucking sense. People are saying Andrew is Crying Child now, I think. I don't know, I've tried to keep up with it. I'm confused and scared! I was taken aback. I was like, I literally typed, bro, I don't think it's that deep. And she just kept running on and on about it had to be true because of book. I don't like the fucking books. They create too much anger. Too much fucking anger. Now, if you haven't played or watched Secret of the Mimic, then leave. Or actually stay. Stay. It's up to you, but if you want to watch it, check out my friend CF Meebo. She streamed Secret of the Mimic a while back. Go check her out. She's a really great creator. in the same creator sphere as the other channel. Not the third one, the first one that shall not be named on this channel because I think it's funny. Because I can't talk about this channel on the first channel, but I can talk about both channels on the third channel. It's funny, okay? I think it's funny. But yeah, Secret of the Mimic did kind of break the books being canon. It kind of did break it in the back. They literally can't be because of all the things relating to the Mimic in the book. It literally can't happen given all the endings. And one, the most that people believe are canon, kind of does make it impossible. So, quick recap over the story. So you are Arnold. He is now tasked to go into Murray Costume Manor to get this Mimic schematics for a $20 gift card. As we go through the facility, dealing with multiple costumes that the Mimic squeezes into, after Jackie gets beat up, which, I'm gonna be fair, like, 30 minutes of fucking gameplay for the entire marketing campaign. Anyways, like I was saying, after it gets into Jackie, the Mimic disappears for a while, and we learn that, Fiona died during something, rather than during childbirth, which is what happened in the books. That right there is nail number 1, okay? We also learn that David died while Murray's Costume Manor was in full production. Strike 2. And it was by a Mimic Fiona. Strike 3. By the way, he's dead. Strike 4. Murray's dead. There's far too much evidence saying the books can't be canon. And if you say, well, these stories aren't canon, then why? Why can this story be canon and this one can't? Do you not see the issue with that? Because if you don't, you're too far gone. Like, it's bad. And then you get the divergent point where you can either run Cradle.exe, run through, the hidden areas of Costume Manor as Dispatch says we should have listened, just like the dog we are. And he says the Mimic is going to get us. We find an underground facility. This is a test for Freddy Fazbear that has prototypes for Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Fredbear, Spring Bonnie, and Bub. And Montgomery Gator before he was called that. That meant William Afton did nothing original, which I kind of disagree, and with a few emails, it is shown that Fredbear's was an establishment at the time, making franchise locations. I'll get back to that in a minute, but we managed to force a door open, and we see the Mixes unit, but it was named Fiona. I don't remember the acronym. And she drops the Dispatch Act, and we learn that the books can't be canon. Mimic getting broken, he was repaired by Edwin. No, he repaired himself. We go into Edwin's house, and Edwin is dead. If you're confused, watch CF like I did. Yeah, Edwin's dead kind of breaks the books. Fucking all of them, kind of. Given how much is revolving around that. Given the stories revolving around him, where they find the Mimic, and how the mechanics fix his legs in the garage area, where they lived, and a lot of stuff is no longer canon. But I know there are some people who can't accept it, and will call me, and they called me delusional for not believing in canon. It's no longer canon. Look who's right now, Jody or Willow! Ha-ha! It took 3-ish months when I scripted this. I am right. Okay, now to bring this back to what I was saying earlier, a lot of people still believe that William didn't do anything, or Henry didn't do anything. I feel like there is some truth in that. why I say that is, see, they have a prototype Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, right? We know for a fact Henry and William worked on that. We know that is beyond a shadow of the doubt 100% canon. Like, we know this is concrete, right? I'm thinking it was a more of Fiona pitched some designs, or they contracted Edwin, a trusted friend of Henry's, to make some suits. And Fiona showed them the designs, and they're like, yeah. That's what I think happened, rather than they weren't creative. They contracted them, told them probably the animals they want, and we went from there. That's what I personally believe, but again, it's just entirely because I refuse to believe Henry would say, and I quote, you know, the whole prisons of my own making, if he had nothing to do with it. Which, I mean, you could be hyperbolic and stuff like that, but I really don't believe that Henry is like that, you know? Well, actually, we don't know. We really don't know what Henry is like outside of the 6th game. And given what we heard in the 6th game, I don't think it. I can definitely make a case where, like, I can make a case to make it where it isn't, where they have to, you know, unmute me from the channel, like I am right now, because I forgot about the books. But the books now have their own timeline and create their own community, and that also brings up the question, is the Silver Ice connected to these books, the, like, universe, you know? But anyways, this, translation. Anyways, so, due to an update, he might be alive, but still, you can't backfoot this. Edwin has to be dead, otherwise we're back to square one, is what I wrote before digging into the inconsistencies, right? The inconsistencies is what gives me just enough evidence to still believe they can't be canon, right? Because even if Edwin is alive, that does undermine his entire story, right? Plus, why would he still be there? It makes no sense. You almost died. I wouldn't step a foot back in there. I'm just tired, you know? But yeah, and that's one of the problems. Scott already kinda can't tell a logical story, and Steel Wool really won't do this. So, that leads me to another problem I kind of have with the lore, and my biggest. The fact that a lot of the story that we believe is canon is heavily built on theories. Like, we don't actually know much about William Afton outside of the books that were never canon. And, if you'd remember, the man from room 1280. C. We don't actually know what he's like outside of FNAF 6. Outside of that, we don't know shit about him, really. All we know is in FNAF 4, he might have. Technically, you could say this is canon, given how we have enough circumstantial evidence to claim it, seeing how Fredbear on desk, walkie-talkie, could say that. Could indeed claim that. But, on the fence. But, that's wrong with it is canon, given how there is just enough circumstantial evidence, right? Because Scott never does anything on accident. Dear God, that one line ruined the fucking franchise from there, I swear to... Anyways. But like I'm saying, all we really know then is he wants to protect... He kept an eye on one of his kids. wanted to put him back together. And after that, broke down the animatronics for some unknown reason, and died in the Springlock suit after killing a lot of kids. Okay, he's killed at least 2 set of children and his best friend's daughter. So, yeah, he's a fucking monster, but, I mean... Anyways, they might have, during planning, like, the books might have been canon, the Silver Eyes, like, most of the characters, it might have been canon at one point, if you'd remember, but, the most character we actually got from him, ever, is really in FNAF 6, and maybe the Dead by Daylight collab, but, I don't know, that feels a little too 50-50 on whether it's canon or not. Like, whether this version of him is canon, and that's that's like a smaller problem I have. Like, we really don't have a lot of concrete evidence on literally anything about him. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit for YouTube, you know. Like, a lot of it is based on theories, which is why I appreciate a YouTuber known as Ritos. He has made something known as the lore board. He essentially takes everything concrete, puts it on the board, with little to no theories. It's been a minute since I've seen him do anything new on it, so future me, change the script if there's shit on there, and if there are new theories, and there are that I really don't agree with. Because of the fucking FNAF 2 movie. I do want to bring this up because I don't know if I bring this up later. I feel like taking anything from the games as canon, anything from the movies that is canon, kind of fucking stupid, honestly. Kind of stupid, you know? But, anyways, so, yeah. So, yeah, anyways, things just got so much more confusing. I'll get to it in a minute, you know. But, you know, this is just something I plan to do, and the funny thing is, I've been here ever since the beginning, as I've mentioned. I've memorized the entire lore from 2014 to before Security Breach. After I lost my mind, you know, especially after the fucking Greg bot shit, at that point I was clocked out. That's why I knew we were cooked. And I thought, what caused this? But anyways, something a little separate. Map Pack called Moon and Sun were as old as the Mimic because of the teeth. From what I remember, he actually fucking called it. I was laughing my ass off when we saw Sun and Moon. I thought that a random guess in the dark was right, you know. It brings me a lot of joy. But anyways, Secret of the Mimic should help the community heal from the steel wool bullshit that was Security Breach. Oh, and the Jackie situation. Why the fuck was she, like, the main marketing campaign, but she was in there for like fucking half an hour max? Anyways, me back to complain about the Funny Bear game, Finance and Phrase lore, of course. The lack of concrete lore is why theories are such a big component to the FNAF community, but I sometimes wish we would get something at least, you know, some fucking years, for God's sake. All we want is some dates. We only now recently, thanks to the Toast Man. I believe he said it, or her was talking about it, other theories, but we managed to narrow it down to what year it takes place, so probably right otherwise. 10 years, we still have no idea when the first game takes place, which normally isn't a problem, like with, Devil May Cry. Bringing that back up. We don't actually know the year any of the games take place. There are none. We don't know. All we can guess is based off age. That's about it. All we know is certain games take 10, 11 years after the last one. Not a problem until you get to the point where we need a timeline of events. That's when things start to fall apart. But recently I've kind of absorbed a lot of theories and kind of realized that FNAF theories have been stale. So when my dumbass makes my personal timeline, or, story type deal, depending on what you guys like, you're probably going to smoke me for that if I ever do it, because I do hold on to some old theories that I refuse to let go because I hate using books as evidence. The main point of the video is my gripes. Now, how the books are canon, which mimic fix the over-reliance of the books, but theories and the lack of clarity and concrete years and the toxicity this video will probably cause just by existing alone, I've never seen a more angry side of this community. I mean, a year ago, if you asked the books are canon, like a wise man once said, 15 dead, more injured, or something along those lines. I'm gonna watch more Chazington after this. But anyways, my last point is how toxic this part of the community is, and the amount of misinformation that gets spread around. Hell, I don't know where it came from. I remember the back of one of the books saying not canon. Either someone fucked with me, or my mind is going like Wade from the hit podcast Destructibles, which I watch so much. And in fact, I'll actually stay up and watch them at midnight when they come out. Yeah. Ever since back on topic. The hell that previous me had to deal with aside, I've actually seen death threats, and I'm not even kidding, doxing, because of the gender of the one who shall not have been killed, Cassidy or Evan. The old book debates were angry. Now the debate is solved, but people can't let it go. The games debunk them. As for the people who bring up into the pit game, it is a simple, fun, non-canon game. Otherwise, the whole problem is 6 dead kids reappear, but I digress. I believe there is a way to fix a lot of these problems, Maybe start laying down some hard dates. Give us some canon characters of William and Henry, so we don't have to, we don't have a lot to work with. Give us some early information of the timeline. Start telling us if certain theories are right or not. State what is and isn't canon, so we can have at least some concrete information to, something to fully fucking work with. And this wouldn't solve the toxic problem. As much as it would change the complaints, would move to something else. Like, this would give us dates to actually work with, making the timeline actually fucking possible, to help us not rely as heavily as we do on theories, and would still leave us with enough to theorize about. Only clarify and to nudge in the right way. I'm not saying to tell us everything, but maybe give us little bits when we need it. Or if it's extremely important, so that FNAF can do the FNAF thing while still giving us actual information to live, so for it to live, for it to continue. I know a lot of people will disagree, but in my personal opinion, I think this could help the pretty broken FNAF community, especially after Security Breach. But if you agree or disagree, just tell me in the comments. I mean, but be respectful in the comments. But here lately, as of updating the script, it's gotten a bit worse. Rytos, my favorite FNAF lore tuber, has had his own great bud. His theory, essentially, Afton decided to actually go to MCM, which, I'm gonna be a bit petty here. I could be petty and use the books to claim how this would make sense. But I'm no hypocrite unless if I want to be. Anyways. But, so the theory, Afton went in MCM, headed into the basement, and the ending where Arnold got stuck in the Freddy prototype, Mimic watched the show, you know. But Afton went to Mixes with M1 or Fiona, and Afton convinced her to give him the schematic so he can fix him too. The one that's trying to kill you, and I mean... And what he means is, you know, make himself, and thus M3 or Glitch Trap would be created. But this theory, it has some evidence. Like, it does have a lot of logical leaps, all things considered, and it is a little flimsy, given how he does pull information from the books and stuff like that in general, which I genuinely do not agree with. But we really don't have a real motive outside of maybe. I will put you back together. Like, that's about all we actually have outside of FNAF 6. I don't buy this. Why would Fiona give the person that broke Edwin, keep in mind? She knows. Here's the thing, she's not stupid. She knows who broke Edwin. She knows it was William Afton and Henry Emily. She knows they contracted him. She knows he broke because he lost everything because of them. She's not stupid. And that's like the biggest problem I have with the theory. She's not fucking stupid. Like, that's the thing, she has a brain. Why give it to fucking Afton? Like, that's a problem I mainly have with theories like this. It's, why the fuck would she ever give Afton? The man that, no speculation, we know for an absolute fact, Afton was poaching members. She has access to all the systems. So she knows that he was poaching them and convincing them to work for him. And she knows for a fact they were going bankrupt because of this. She knows for a fact. Because she's connected to all the systems. Right? She is. She states this in the game. I may be wrong. Genuinely, it seems like she has full access to the systems, right? She would fucking know. But I don't think that explains that earlier theory he made makes more sense. The theory, which has its own problems, but it was after Fazbear found it, took the Mixes unit, and when the VR game was being made, scanned the boards with Fiona. She wanted to bring her family back, but the game she was trapped in made her think she was Afton and create Glitch Trap, which is not explained in any other way or in any other theory, but Mixes is theories of whether she is in there or not. We are unsure if M1 or M2 is in the Mimic Endo. Like, that's the thing. We really don't know anything about the Mimics. Like, that's the thing. And it does really piss me off, because it's like, man, remember when the series was about kids being murdered? You know, the thing that got me into the franchise was kids possessing animatronics because they were murdered and didn't want to die. That's the fucking thing that sucks. Scott Cawthon really got lucky and managed to trap the correct type of people in the community. People who will obsess over a game. I am guilty. I have been in the community since 2014. I really do think he got lucky. I also feel like there's just a level of just anger I feel towards this because listen, I love it when things are cryptic, right, you know? But when the story is to the point where trying to figure things out, like when it gets to the point when it's like impossible, what the fuck am I supposed to say? Nobody actually knows the FNAF lore, and we can't actually figure it the fuck out. We haven't been right since FNAF 3, which Scott has confirmed. FNAF 1 to 3, those were figured out and solved. So we know for a fact that was canon. We know all of this was right. Might not be canon now. Which, I get it. As things go on, they can retcon old things. I get that. But, when it's to the point where we could never have... Listen. Okay. Here's the thing. When you do a story, right? I have a theory I want to actually state. Right? In a minute. But first... When the continuation had no build-up, as in introducing somebody who has zero prerequisites and just dropping him in, that's lazy writing. I don't care the Mimic was in a shit ton of books. He wasn't at all teased, or was he? I have a theory. You know the paper note room that MatPat created the infamous Raybot theory about, right? I have a theory. That was going to tie into the Mimic, and was going to be one of our first hints towards Murray. I personally believe that Security Breach was supposed to tease the Mimic, right? That's what the room was. It was supposed to be teasing the Mimic, right? And the theory that Afton is the Mimic, I think it was supposed to be true, because you remember the original teasers, it was this thing mimicking him. And I think that was the original intention for Security Breach. But, here's the thing, right? Scott, you know you fucked up, so how about this? You tell us what it was supposed to be and what it is now, to make up for your fuck-up rather than make us scramble, right? What I think Scott should do is release what Security Breach should have been. Maybe not as a game, maybe as, a video or something like that, you know, just tell us what the fuck it was supposed to be. And then he tells us either what it is, or he's like, hey, disregard the game. Something, so we know what the fuck is going on. I know people will definitely disagree with me with this. It's just something where it's like, I want to know, where the fuck did we go wrong? Right? I can't be the only one who has just thoroughly lost faith in the franchise entirely because it's to the point where I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I'm just lost at this point, guys. It makes me genuinely sad. Remember when this series was solved until FNAF 4? And to be honest, I don't think Scott actually knows how to write a story. Not even trying to be rude, I genuinely do not think he knows how to write a good story, right? Nothing makes sense. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I don't care, that's a part of the charm. It's not a part of the charm when I can't figure out what's going on when I haven't interacted with the series for, let's say, a year. I had a friend who wasn't into it for 2 years, right? He comes back and he's like, dude, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I can't even get back into it. And without theory heavy the lore is, it brings me so much sadness. I remember when all we knew about Afton was he wanted to put his sons back together, right? His son back together and descended into madness trying to bring his kid back. Now we have an evil son of a bitch, or he was always insane, but the death of his kid broke him, which would be a much better way. Like, he is no silent killer like in FNAF 3. He is a homicidal, maniacal, self-gloating, over-the-top serial killer, right? I miss when Afton was scary and not this cartoonish depiction of villainy. And it's like the problem I have with people saying that it is more compelling than a man who has lost his way and turned the darkest corner and bring his kid back. And honestly, if I was Scott, I would have whatever the next game is clarify who made what, who contributed to the creation of Freddy's, clear up William and Henry's motivation a bit, the timeline, so I don't have to have a fucking aneurysm trying to figure out what's going on, and people are thinking all of FNAF 2 movie. They're thinking the FNAF 2 animatronics are remotely controlled because of the fucking movie, because cherry-picking information. I really hate this way of thinking. I think if we are to take something as canon, we have to take all of it, not cherry-picking. Either we need clarification for this to be the last, because honestly, I'm so fucking tired of figuring out what the fuck is going on. Like, here's the thing. I don't think Afton needs to be a silent monster, right? He can be a maniacal, over-the-top bastard like he is in the games, right? In FNAF 6, it was done tastefully. In FNAF AR, it was done tastefully, but motherfucker, is it annoying in Dead by Daylight. That little section was after seeing somebody praise the Dead by fucking Daylight version. We don't even know if it's fucking canon! Like, that's the thing. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I am actually angry, right? Like, here's the thing. He can be a bit cartoonish, right? I understand why he was a silent villain potentially, right? But, dear God, don't make him cartoonish. Have him break. And this is a part of his break. He is so broken, he is doing things to make up for his fully deteriorated. He's doing bad things for a good cause is what he tells himself. It makes it more compelling. While I admit we don't need a sympathetic villain, he's not. He is mentally deranged. That's why he thinks that way, you know? And all the fucking cherry picking. So what is my solution, you may ask? Explain what the fuck's going on. No more of this fucking cat and mouse bullshit between lore. Just tell us something concrete, for God's sake. Like, man, I'm tired of theories being what people say as fucking canon! I'm tired of it. Right? I'm not gonna act like I haven't done that. I've done that before. Right? I'm not gonna be hypocritical and say I'm above that. No, I've done it myself. I will admit, I've done that, and I still do that a little bit, right? Because I have my own preconceived notions, but I am willing to change my opinions if something comes along that's fucking compelling. I just miss when times were simpler, I'm gonna be honest. I miss when I knew what the fuck was going on in the fucking games. But it feels so distant from what FNAF was to where I'm just sad, right? Like, that's about all we can do at this point. Is just get clarifications and give us something to work with. Whether you agree with me or not, that is entirely your choice. YouTube spiel, like, subscribe, share. It helps the channel grow, and whether you agree with me or not, that's your choice. And if you share and do stuff like that, I greatly appreciate it. That's Lore Maker signing off.